Hello everyone, I'm the Viking General, and this video will be a little bit different than usual. First of all, this is not scripted, so I won't be as smooth as usual, since English isn't my first language, as most of you probably have guessed. So there might be some struggling with the words here and there. I recently uploaded a video in which I explained how to take castles, how to assault them, and of course it's easy to say how to do things, but it's always difficult to do this in a real siege. So I thought, well, let's make a video about how to put the theory into practice. So with me I have a army. It's just pretty standard field army. I'm not saying this is the best composition whatsoever or anything. I just threw together some units which I thought, well, I could see myself having such an army during a campaign. Added some Yari Eshigaru as well, just to make it more difficult for myself. And against me, I also have a full stack of a full stack enemy. Also a little bit of cavalry, because generally AI does recruit cavalry in my experience. But further, just full-on katana samurai and bow samurai. And also trying to emulate the garrison a little bit. This is a custom battle, so sadly we cannot use garrison units here. We have a Yari Eshigaru unit, a bow Eshigaru unit, a katana hero unit, which replaces the samurai retainer unit, and the warrior nuns, which replace the onabushi. Of course, this makes it also a little bit harder, but well, what can I say? I'm a masochist. So we'll furthermore, we'll also be playing on the Plains Fortress map. I have some experience with this castle, and this is actually a pretty difficult castle to assault, and we'll get into how and why when we get into the battle. We'll be having an unlimited time, because this battle will probably take around an hour or so in real time, and we'll have to speed up some things as well. Hopefully the video won't be an hour long, but well, I'll see that when I actually have to edit this. And the battle difficulty will be very hard, and we'll be playing on realism mode, so I want to show this is also possible on a legendary difficulty. Before we jump in though, I do want to say that generally if you are up against this army, against a pretty upgraded castle, with this army I really wouldn't assault it. This is more showing that it can be done, not that you should do it. Anyway, let's begin. Alright, we're in the battle now. So let's take a look at a castle quickly. We can see it has 3 levels. And we can also see that there is no straight path to the Tenshu. Not really a single climb here. The quickest path to the Tenshu objective is probably through this gate, and then over this wall, either through the gate or over the wall, depends on how the enemies are positioned, and then into the capture spot. However, that is quite a long journey to make, and the AI will have plenty of time to react, so capturing it might be viable eventually, but at the start we'll probably look to kill as much of the enemy as possible and rout them in pieces. Furthermore, all these gates are easily covered by archer placements, and the AI generally does a decent job of doing it. So they'll leave gaps, but we really have to use the gaps. The only positive thing I think about this map for us is that the tower placement is pretty easy to deal with. We'll probably be able to take down most of these towers without much resistance. And yeah, well, let's begin. We don't have to really deploy our army, because we'll be moving them all around anyway. And by deploying our army on one side and not spreading them out already, we make sure that they put the most amount of archers our way. You could try to exploit it by trying to set up here, for example, to try and get this gate and make it so that this gate is not covered by archers, but it's really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. So we can see that they have an archer unit over here, and 2 over here. So this gate, this approach is pretty much a dead zone. And let's see where the other units are. They have a bow samurai up here. I'm not sure if they're on the wall yet. And they have, is that also, yeah, also archer up there. So I'm not sure where they are. That makes 5. Could be on the other side. Probably not, but we'll see. So now we can actually try and lock, well, with our bait up. We can check the exact range we want to use by putting up, moving forward our archers, because they have the same range, right? So we can pretty easily see how far these guys can shoot. Already I can see that there is a lot of activity or a lot of units over here, which means that is pretty a good target, possible target for our archers to hit. Clustered units will generally give better results if you fire arrows into them. So this does mean that this tower is not really destroyable, or, well, it is, but that will have to take heavy casualties because we will be under missile fire from these guys. Right, let's see here. This unit has range to about here, so we have a little bit of base to work with, where we can put our baits better. There we go. And we can guess the other one a little bit. Let's make sure they don't start shooting. And try to listen for a sort of horn call when they try to do so. Oh, they are moving up a samurai unit over here. Unusual. Generally don't see the AI actually putting up changing levels with their bow samurai, or with the archer units at all. They left the other side wide open. But there is still a melee unit on top, and on this level we have to kill everything, so it's very, very dangerous to send anything up here, because a unit just walks up here, it will be able to slaughter us. Alright, so there's a lot of activity here. If we can shoot our missiles into this spot here, that would be fantastic. So let's go and try to do that. We have to take out this tower, and we have to take out this tower as well, probably. But the good news is that since there are... Yeah, well, we'll take out the towers, that's fine, except for this one. So this will be probably around here to take in consideration. They'll probably be able to hit on the banks as well, so we have to take a really wide berth around them. And let's also send with them our Naginata samurai. I mean, 6 samurai units will probably be able to defeat any sally out they might do, but better safe than sorry. But with this setup, it seems we are in a bit of luck here. On the other hand, it might be difficult to actually capture this, because there are archers on this part as well, and they might be able to take a lot of shots at us here. And as well as the tower, of course, is also pretty dangerous. But if we are able to have 3 units of archers, that would be pretty useful as well. So we'll have to see how the battle develops. Because, of course, if we send units over here, the AI will react and try to stop us over here. You might try to send our Yari afterwards or something, just to do some sneaky backstabbing if possible. But the fact that they do not have the bow Ashigaru on the wall is, well, not disturbing, but kind of unsettling, because that means they will still have the freedom to move them wherever they want. But this is a prime target for archers. We don't have to worry about tiring our units out, because as we've discovered, it doesn't really affect their stats, only their morale. For infantry, that is. For cavalry, it does affect their stats as well. And I'm not really expecting anything to come out to try and get us. They might, sometimes, I've seen it during siege, that they try to kill the bait within the sally out. Look at this. Alright, let's use 3 units to take down a tower. A little bit of extra information, and taking down a tower with fire arrows, doesn't seem to be based on amount of fire damage or something like a meter that fills up, like in other Total War games, where it has fire damage and well, it has fire damage and normal damage, and when you have fire damage reaches 100, it gets normal damage. But in this game, it seems more chance based, where every shot seems to have a chance to actually light this tower on fire. So it might take 1 volley, it might take 2, and we got it in 1. That is very nice. And we got out without any casualties whatsoever, which is also very nice. We have to wait a bit, and I think I will definitely take out this tower. Well, we might actually just use our Ashigaru on this side and some of Yari cavalry to run them up. Sadly, cavalry, when mounted, cannot throw torches for some reason. Maybe it scares the horses. So they cannot burn down the gate themselves. They need to have infantry with them to do so. While they're moving that way, we can move up our archers here, because that will still be out of range for those archers. Then again, it might actually be better to just move the entire army around and attack from this side, because all the archers will be facing this way, except for this one. Let's see, it's facing this way as well. And if we put a unit close enough to this wall, which could be an extra arch unit, then this unit probably also won't move. And we'll be able to, because that would be, if we're able to surround this, the Tenshu area, I'll be referring to this as a Tenshu area. If we can surround this, it will be much easier to capture, because there will be much more gaps we can send troops through. Alright, let's see here. Preferably that we shouldn't have them. Ooh, that's Yara Shigaru. Oh, this one. Probably we wouldn't fire at moving troops, but because they're in such a block right now, it doesn't really matter that much. And you can hear some cavalry also got into the line of fire. I mean, Yara Ashigaru really fought their arrows pretty quickly, especially from bow samurai, but they kind of have low morale anyway and go down pretty fast anyway, so rather not waste any arrows on them. Well, let's make sure we get this tower burned down as well, because if we want to go through this way, this one has to go. This one needs to go. This doesn't need to go, but it is useful. We take it out as well. We might actually just use some Yari Ashigaru to take it out, because I think it would take around 10 men to take out a tower if they're in spread out formation. Very nice here. Lots of units stacked on top of each other. We want to focus on the Katana Samurai, obviously, because those are the best troops in melee. Ooh, we do want to take out the warrior nuns though. They are very good in melee as well, and of course they are very vulnerable to missile fire because they have no armor. And the cavalry, not really a threat, to be honest. The cavalry doesn't really generally needs space to move around and to flank, and in small space like this, they don't have the ability to flank as well as they do. And they're Yari cavalry, so they don't have a lot of staying power as well. I mean, if they were Katana's cavalry, I would definitely prioritize the Katana cavalry because the cavalry is pretty vulnerable to missile fire in general. And Katana cavalry, a single Katana cavalry unit is much better than a single Katana samurai unit. Ooh, they do not have their firearms just yet. Let's try it again. That would have been unfortunate. Alright, that's enough kills for them. They are pretty much wiped out. And as we can see, it took a little longer for this tower to catch on fire, but that's fine. Still in the first volley of all troops combined. Sadly, took a bit of casualties there. Well, you can't have everything. Let's see here. More of the same, I guess. They're the heroes. The thing is, actually taking down their general in a multi-level siege is useful because, of course, on the lower levels, enemy troops are susceptible to morale penalties and everything. But using arrows for that isn't really what I want to do because the chance of actually killing the general is pretty low. So I generally do not try to kill the general with missile fire. I also try to conserve ammo as much as possible by not firing at them while they are moving, because they seem to be less accurate while units are moving. So when they're... oh, that's just Atsugaru. So I prefer to fire at them on the stationary. Sadly, we do not have any great targets here right now. Because you get to see if they start moving. Of course, we move a lot, but if they move and they stop, sometimes a lot of volleys miss as well. Which is kind of unfortunate. Don't really want to target them because of this weird positioning thing they're doing. Well, we kind of have to.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, my lord.
Alright, then you can start replacing our bait units. By the way, probably most of you will already know this, but I'm carrying this path by holding shift while I give the movement orders. You hold shift and you give a new movement order, it will add one on top of the previous one instead of override it. And I use it to, get around these archers as best as I can. So I'm not sure what's happening here. Let's hold fire for a moment. Yeah, I'm definitely just going to send all of our
units has used all its ammunition, my lord.
I'm definitely going to use send all the melee troops to the other side. Because I will definitely just keep some archer units here without ammunition. And I will also keep a little bit of enemy forces here. Because, who knows, we might actually climb the walls, and that might be, bad. Although actually, if you see they have some experience now with the 7 attack and 4 defense compared to 5 and 2, which is pretty decent for archer units. So I think this unit will be able to take out a Yari Ashigaru unit pretty easily. Well, not easily, but I think they will manage. Especially with the low morale of the Yari Ashigaru unit. So let's see what will be next on our list. I actually want to try and get the heroes. Because they will probably not rout, and they will, I think we'll chew through a couple of, probably 2 of our units before they go down. If we have them, let them be at full strength. Let's wait until they stop moving and then fire away. If they, yeah, there, thank you. Yeah, right, also the arcing shots, which is good, because then there will be less arrows in the walls. And it will take quite a long time before we actually kill a unit, probably. Oh, never mind. Because, as far as I know, hero units actually have 2 hit points per model. Most other units have only a single hit point per model. But these have 2 to have them, give them more staying power, of course, because of their small unit. So that means it might take a little longer to actually get some kills on them. So this is very unfortunate that they actually managed to dodge out of the way. And this one as well. And I'm actually going to keep firing, because hopefully they will run through some other units. Sadly, that one just moved out of the way. That's what I mean. When they stop, you just miss so much of your shots. Or basically an entire volley. I mean, you can see how much these guys can tank. Of course, a small unit is also, relatively more resistant to arrow fire. But 20 is fine. 20 is fine. That's decent. Should be able to work with that. So let's have them also let's also have these archers some normal kills. Just looking for undamaged ones. Because if we want to route them, we want to bring them, well, if they already have casualties, they already have a little bit lower morale than if they're full strength. And that will really help us. But these first archers did a really great job of killing. But these guys, well, of course, they have fired a lot into this unit, of course. But the enemies are very much not cooperating here by walking all over the place. Which is, of course, reasonable because, well, there's fewer casualties. And we still have half our ammo left, so we can speed this up a bit. But hopefully this already shows the power of being able to just fire at your enemy without them doing anything about it. This is a very powerful thing you can do in offensive sieges, which I don't think you can do it in any other situation in Shogun 2. So we are definitely milking the most out of this because, like I said, I really stacked the deck against myself here. Because I was also thinking about how to give myself a proper challenge. Because if I give the enemy too many boatmen, it will be pretty easy. Because I know archer units aren't really going to do anything. But of course, if I give them a lot, they might be able to cover everything. And then it's not really viable to assault. You really want to be able to move around them. But then again, if they only have archer units, it kind of gets viable against assault, because if you get through a weak point anyway, they do not have any melee resistance or infantry to counter that. But if they give the enemy too few archer units, well, then there are too many gaps basically. There are too many things to take advantage of. Honestly, right now I'm thinking I could have gotten an archer unit or two more to also cover this side, because now this being so open is really inviting. Anyway, these guys are going to stay here and they're not going to do anything else. And these guys are going to do most of the work, and we're basically going to migrate to the other side. Well, these guys can just... We will destroy this tower with this Yari Ashigaru unit, so we'll be able to move. And this is also what makes it a little bit difficult, of course, because of the shallow water, we move a little bit slower. Oh, first volley again. Very nice. I can move them out of the way, but the tower... I don't... Well, maybe I could have. Doesn't really matter that much.
Our weapons made short work of their tower.
Yeah, 8 casualties. Very acceptable losses there. And I do expect them to actually, you know, do something about when we actually start burning down the gates over here. But as you can see, there are a lot of casualties already without me having taken... Okay, fine. I took 3 casualties with that tower there, which I didn't even need to do. This was the only tower that was required to actually start fighting here. So without taking any casualties, actually, so many dead already. So many destroyed. That is the power of positioning, basically, and using bait to keep enemy archers from moving. Alright, that was a little bit too close. Lucky it's only just Yari Ashigaru units. Right, they're moving their entire army the other way. Which is fine, because, like I said, if we try to find here, the archers here, these guys can turn around. This tower is here. Not a great place to fight. And, of course, still some fresh katana unit here. Basically two katana samurai units still over here, which will not bother us here. Another one here, another one here. Very nice. So with this, we're kind of splitting up the enemy forces as much as possible. And to be honest, this battle could even be better if I wanted this battle to take over 3 hours or something, because I could move unit per unit and see when they start sending troops to one side and when they stop sending troops to the other. That would be possible, but it would also be very, very time consuming and not that interesting. A negative with this approach, of course, that they will probably move more troops into this area here, which might be a bit of a problem, but we'll figure that out later. And again, if we take out everything here, we can then swing around and actually clean up here as well, to make sure that we just eventually have the numbers to take the tension level, basically. I'm not sure if they have archers here. No, they do not. But I don't want to move here, because then they might send their Ashigaru units. That might actually not be too bad if they're over here. Let's see if we can bait them a little bit. But yeah, as you can see, this is a very easy place to go through the gate and just take them down. We can use a general just to extend a fight ability over here, which will give us lots of bonuses, of course. Does this do anything? It doesn't seem to. Well, then we can, of course. I'm not really sure if they're going to stay here or if this unit, having a unit here, is going to help. I could, of course, just... I'll just put a Yorishika unit there. Sadly, for all the years, they're pretty hard to use in the siege as well. Offensive siege, that is. Let's burn down the gates. With only a few men thrown because everyone is stacked on each other. I wanted to say it might take a few volleys, but pretty fast. Another positive of having all these units move around, of course, is that they're a little bit tired, but so are we, so it might take a while before we actually assault, and then they might already not be tired anymore. But we'll have to see about that, how it eventually pans out. Yeah, I should have probably given an archer unit. I think it's mostly because they put this archer here, which is weird, because that is, even for the AI, that's just overkill with archer placements. The Naginata Samurai sending up those, of course, would be helpful because there is a lot of cavalry here as well. I think looking at this, we don't even have to climb the walls. We can just send everything through the gates. It's already just inspired them because otherwise I forget it, and then we just stand and fight. And there we go. Already forming down. And not even other units in sight, which is very nice. Mostly concerned about this archer unit that might decide to relocate. I don't want to pursue too much. Although the general throwing himself away is nice. Very nice. Alright.
My lord, their general has fallen.
That was what I was hoping for. This will definitely help with, well, taking down their morale as quickly as possible. Right, they're still in range over here. Oh, just Ashigar. I thought there were a lot of troops. I was a little bit concerned, but seeing there were just Yaroshigaru makes it a lot less scary. They're holding up pretty well. Luckily, we got some early kills on the general as well, so we got some experience, which will really help them stay alive right now. Scoring everything. Probably shouldn't have sent everything at the same time from the gate. A few of them are now just kind of not moving. Although seeing this, it's still fine. They are doing a phenomenal job here. Already at rank 3. Because even if this isn't a campaign where I'm really happy about, you know, keeping this experience, I'm still happy right now in this battle. Because as you can see, the enemy does also get experience a little bit, but not enough. And these guys, unexperienced at all. Completely inexperienced. These have some experience for some reason. Those are the heroes. But that's kind of to be expected, maybe. Now the heroes did some, their thing, their ability.
Fatigued, my lord, and some must rest.
Yes, I know they are fatigued, but they do not need to rest at all. They'll be fine. And this is how we take most of the castle, just piece by piece, basically. Let's see, have the cavalry go around. Maybe flank them a little bit. Let's see if they're still in. I'm not sure if they still get the bonus from the general. Probably did still. Well, I can check, of course. Melee attack of 15. Yeah, 14, 15. Just the experience, of course. Yeah, those are broken, and these will probably never break. They have a base morale of 40, so. Cavalry, you're too late. For this one. Oh, they are actually broken. Didn't expect that. Cavalry taking some very interesting maneuvering here. Doing some very interesting maneuvering, I'm saying. Another interesting thing to note, by the way, is if you burn down the gates and there's a unit on top of it or inside of it, it will explode when it reaches 100%. That explosion is actually very deadly. I've had a situation where I was burning down the gates, but the enemy was basically stuck inside and my troops were on the outside fighting. And it pretty much wiped out the entire units. They went from 120 units to just 20. Because all of the men were near the gate when it exploded. It was glorious. But very hard to actually plan for, so it just happened. But if you see the opportunity, go for it. For one, it's also it's pretty hilarious, and for two, it's actually very strategically useful to do so. Right, let's get our general moved up and burn down this gate. Because again, I think we'll just only for a single Katana Samurai unit, we don't really need to send men to their deaths from climbing. What would that be? Yeah, well, fair enough. I mean, it's 8-meter wall or something. Not sure how you die from falling there. You could, I mean, you could die from falling from like 20 centimeters or something, but anyway, yeah, it might seem like we've completely won right now, and it might be true, but we still have to take the castle, and that might be trickier than we think, or than you think. They still have a few troops that are 100, pretty much full strength. And they can easily just waltz into the gate here and then bog us down. But luckily, as you can see, just even using archers as bait, as a threat or something, these guys just won't move. I almost want to show you that if I move these units, that these guys will move as well. Probably move as well. I'm not sure. I've had some instances where custom battle AI does some very questionable things. For example, this. Why? Well, actually, maybe getting them to move isn't such a bad idea, because then I wouldn't have to worry about them when we go for detention here. But maybe that's more of a thing for later. We now can send in our healthy units. Have the general get in range as well. Do some stand fighting as well. And these guys can start moving here. Hopefully burn down the gates. Because I don't think... The thing is, capturing gates is also very interesting if you manage to do that, because then the enemy can't use them. And if the enemy can't use it, they will have to find another way, and if you capture both gates, they'll have to climb their own tent. However, we probably won't be able to capture this gate, especially with the Katana Samurai parked right next to it. Oh, I forgot to give buffs. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Completely wiped out. We don't really need to run down shattered units anyway, because first of all, this is a custom battle, so it doesn't matter on the campaign map. But even if it wasn't a campaign, it also doesn't matter, because if a army gets defeated while it's in a settlement, it just wipes out anyway. Alright, let's have these guys move up here. Thing is, I know that once I start climbing this wall, it will trigger the AI to just come bum rushing this way. At least I triggered these guys, so that's something. That's very useful. Burn. Should be able to get it destroyed before these guys are here. Or are on them. Yep. Yeah, it will be interesting to see if we can indeed lure them a little bit this way. No other movement. Good. Sadly, they didn't went in, because then we might have seen some interesting sight of them exploding. They're doubting a little bit. They're not pretty confident yet. But I have faith that they will eventually find their way. And the rest is completely stationary, so we'll just have to wait this out a little bit. So I think they're stuck. Pretty funny. Alright, let's just take them out then. Would have liked them actually getting in there, because then I would have been able to get a flanking charge. Or now they... Oh no. I thought they were running away. It's fine. It's fine. And these guys will go down pretty quickly as well. As I say, but they're wavering for quite a long time, it seems. Well, probably the shock from the charge was a little bit much. Yep. But we'll be here. So I think what we have to do is send our Katana Samurai in and just as deep as possible, and have the cavalry and Naginata Samurai actually take this center. I think that would be the best option. So, of course, first let's move up all the troops. And the cavalry can just... we can keep it in reserve. We can keep it in reserve over here as well, of course. And the general can stand here as well. We live this around here to get as much of the buffs as possible. Because we'll have to hold them for a minute. And it might seem short, but a minute is sometimes longer than you think. And especially, it's actually, I think, about a minute and 5 seconds or something, because the timer will stay on 0 for a few seconds even after it reaches 0. Now we'll have to wait until our troops have moved. As you can see, nice little battlefield here. Let's bring one over here as well, and one over here as well. And we actually did, as you can see, we did lose quite a few men. Not like we got out of there without any casualties, but so far so good. Only 4 in the yellow and none in the red. Still not sure what these guys are going to do. Alright. Let's just go and climb. Because in this phase I really want as much units on the tension level as fast as possible. See, and these guys are activated, so we really want to... Or not activated, but they are starting to move. We want to catch them before they get over here. And I think we won't be able to, sadly. And these guys are starting to move as well. Oh, this might also be a problem. Yeah, it's fine. The wavering doesn't really mean that much. Maybe you can keep the guy. Yeah, very well, please, please. No? Alright, it's free. Okay, that's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. There we go. We are capturing the tension right now. So we just need to hold on for 1 minute. And these guys should pull back again. Wait, these guys are still... We can still route these guys. That is for sure. That is a possibility. I'm not sure if we're able to do this in half a minute or something, but... we might be able to. But right now, priority is actually... this unit, for me, a Yarashigara unit is there to sacrifice anyway. But cavalry, useful if you can keep it working for longer periods of time. So, one is already broken. They are really fighting to the death, and as you can see, it takes a little while for the game to think, oh wait, you really won. You can still lose troops in that moment. And there we go, it's a victory. And as you can see, even though it looked like we were easily going to win this last push to actually capture this still cost a lot of men. We only had 4 units in the red, and now we have in the yellow, and now we have 5 in the yellow and 2 in the red even. Although this one might have been unnecessary, but still, it goes to show how much more difficult it is to actually get the final push. And as you can see, this capture really, this unit, fine, we could have routed these guys, but it would have taken kind of a lot of casualty. We would have totally lost this unit probably as well. These guys still fighting would still do a lot of casualties. This one not nearly that much. And as you can see, all these archers here, 4 units of archers completely didn't do anything in this battle at all. Tower will probably has also killed some things as well, but these archers didn't do anything, didn't even fire a shot. And that is how you use bait to lock archers in place, which I think is the most fundamental thing, because then you can really start to play with the enemy here, as we did. Well, with first the arrow massacre over on this side, knowing then everything is on this side. This is empty. Just sending over basically all of our troops except for the archers, to still keep some troops here, and then just having to fight them bit by bit here. A little bit of cavalry here, then, well, a little bit of larger battle, but it gradually moved. So then they only gradually put in more troops, and we were just able to put our main force right behind them, or right behind us, and then still just a group here and then a group here. So this way we are piece by piece, we're taking the defenders apart, and in the end it's just like a bonsai rush basically to the tension, to this objective. And well, pretty much, I think, which unit is the one that is almost that? Yeah, this one. Pretty much almost sacrificing another unit just to get their own unit away from the tension. Right now, it seems like it didn't really matter in the end that much. We could have saved more units, but 2020 hindsight is always 2020. So still, we had, keep them away from the objective, because they can really wear on your troops to have to fight here for so long, and being able to get this uncontested is a huge win. If there are troops here, you even want to try to get those troops away from that position as well, and you keep some troops on the battlements to just strike as soon as possible. All right, I still want to mention one thing. Of course, the victory screen normally would be a little bit different, but the custom battle also has the final screen. We can see we have even less men deployed than them, and they did kind of have the better units with the Onabushi and the Katana Hero as well, but you can see we only lost 800 men. I'm not even sure if I would have won this as well in a field battle, on the straight up field battle. In a defensive field battle, I might actually just try it out to see how I could do a field battle with these units. See if I could do better. This goes to show how powerful an offensive siege can be, and it doesn't have to cost your entire army just to take a castle, even if it is defended by a full stack. So I actually did the battle. So I actually went ahead and did the battle, and I actually lost that one. It was a close defeat, but a defeat is still a defeat. So I guess assaulting that castle would have been the better choice in that situation. I mostly struggled with the katana heroes. Those were impossible to take. That they killed over 200 men, as you can see. Of course, in a normal battle, these guys won't show up. Might have gone differently if they weren't there. I might have won it, but honestly, even if those guys weren't there, I would have lost so much more men than I did on the assault. As you can see here, I even lost more men than the enemy. So yeah, that's kind of the moral of the story almost. Sieging can be much easier than an actual field battle. So to wrap this video up, I hope you actually like this kind of video. If you did, please leave a like. It really helps the channel, and it also helps me understand what you guys actually like and what you don't like. If you don't like this, also just leave a dislike. That actually helps me out a lot as well. Then I can see, oh, maybe this kind of content isn't what people want to see, and that's fine. Because this kind of content, it's easy for me to make, and if people like it, that will be a win-win situation, of course. Or if you have something specific to say, just leave a comment down below. I can understand not everyone wanting their name to be down there, so that's fine, but honestly, I would love to hear some feedback about this. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it again, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching, and especially if you watched the entire thing. And I hope to see you next time.